Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Coach Candy with Coffee Chats. I am in Houston, Texas today. Hello, everybody. Grab your coffee, grab your water, grab your tea, grab whatever it is that gets you rocking and rolling in the morning, and let's get going. It is Friday, y'all. Welcome. Hey, Shirley, how are you? Oops, I got some on my hand. Morning, Yvette. How's everyone doing this morning? I am here. You're going to hear some background noise more than likely. I am at my friend's house in Houston, so there's some background bubbles with the pool. You may hear a golf cart or Peyton or their dog Stella bark. Yes, I am outside today, but I wanted to say good morning to all of you. I wanted to touch base before the week was out. It is our Finish Strong Friday, and just want to make sure everybody is doing well. I want to talk today about, we got into some howdy. So good morning, y'all. Welcome. Wanted to talk a little bit more about relationships, and today about commitments that we make. So today I want to talk a little bit about relationships to ourselves and the commitments we make or break, which is the case sometimes. And so I want you to think about, good morning, Carol. I want you to think about where you have been maybe really hard on yourself, where you've made some commitments to yourself, you've made some promises, you've said you're going to take care of things, you're going to do things, and then for whatever reason you've broken that promise to yourself. You've not done what you said you were going to do. You were going to start a new exercise routine. You were going to start getting up earlier. You were going to start implementing the bookends. You were going to start owning your calendar, which we're going to talk more again about next week, your relationship with your calendar. But where right now in your life have you made a commitment to yourself that you have found that you're not able to hold that commitment, that you've broken that commitment, you're making excuses? And one of the reasons I wanted to bring that to light this morning is because I personally have been having some of that head trash and some of that noise as well. And so I was like, it's probably a good topic to bring. We're going into another weekend, which is always a great time to do a little reset, to make sure that you're recharging your batteries, make sure that you are able to take inventory and stock on how you showed up in the last week. Good morning, David. And so I want you to think about that. Let's look at this last week. Let's not make it a huge exploratory space. Let's just reflect on, let's take some time. And this is one of the things when you're looking at your bookends, when you're looking at how to show up more effectively, and I probably could have gotten my sunglasses. It's a little bit more bright out here than I thought. So when you think about reflecting on your week, and so Friday is a really good day, especially, and you may want to do this again in the afternoon, but let's do this together this morning. I want you to really review your week. I want you to think about what intentions you set. Good morning, Sarah. I want you to think about what intentions you set for the week. I want you to think about how you started your week, what you told yourself in terms of, this is how I was going to show up powerfully. These are the things that I was going to commit to this week. And I want you to go back and I want you to review and reflect how well you showed up in that space. And I don't want this to be a space where you're going to self-deprecate, where you're going to spin out of control. This is an opportunity. The reason that we do reviews or we do reflection or we want to take inventory or stock on what we said we were going to do and how well we did against that metric or that intention is not to send ourselves spinning sideways and to get ourselves all kinds of crazy. Good morning, Chris. And then, good morning, Deborah. And so I want you to think about this space around looking at it so that you can get an honest assessment of where you're holding promises to yourself and where you may be breaking them and what's getting in your way. And one of the best things you can do is a Friday review, right? Good morning. And so I really want you to think and reflect on what were the commitments, what were the intentions, what were the ways that you said you were going to show up, whether it was how you were going to lead, who you were going to connect with, things that you were going to do that were discipline or ways to level up. What were the things that you set intention around to say, for this week, these are the things that I'm going to start to embrace? And I want you to take that time to say, so how did I do? And this is the kinds of questions that I want you to think about as you're reflecting on those commitments you made. I want you to ask yourself the big questions. Don't be all wishy-washy in that space. Don't get caught up in the, I'm going to just go easy on myself. This is the opportunity to get really honest and to create those assessments that are going to be meaningful so that you can peel it back and say, what's getting in my way? What excuses am I making? What patterns are showing up? So you can take some ownership and move that forward. And so, for example, some of the questions, let me see some of you. Oh, good morning, Preston. God, we got some new people showing up this morning. Excellent. And so I want you to think about that for a moment. I want you to ask questions like, if I look back on this week, where was I a rock star? Like, where did I crush it? Where did I like bring my A game? Where was I on fire? When I said I was going to do this, not only did I do that, but I blew it out of the water, right? And so I want you to think about owning first where you were a freaking rock star. I want you to think about where your superpowers were like all amped up. You were in a space where you were like, man, I know I was on my A game. And then, so I want you to think about that, right? I want you to think about how powerfully you show up in that space. And so you're like, man, I just crushed it this week, right? I brought my A game. This is where I over delivered. This is where I was like in my sweet spot. And so I want you to assess that space first. Then what I want you to do is I want you to think about, where did you dog it? And this is the big question. This is the powerful question that's not to self-deprecate. This is the question to get really honest with yourself, to say, where did I cop out? Where did I drop the ball? Where did I show up half-ass, halfway? Where did I not stay in the commitment that I made to myself or to others? Where did I set intention and fall short? And it's important that we do both sides of that. Good morning, Nicole. It's really important that we get in a space and we say, okay, where did I crush it? Where did I really have that sweet spot? And where did I find myself falling short? Because if you start doing this on a regular basis, especially on your Fridays as you're reflecting and closing out a week, and you can see the dogs behind me, right? There's Peyton on that side, and then Stella's on the other side of me. So for those of you, I'm in Houston today, just hanging out with a friend of mine, taking some time for myself. And so it's a great day to kind of close things out, right? And so you say, where was I really good and where did I cop out? Because one of the things I want you to start noticing when you get in this space of reviewing commitments, reviewing your intentions, is what patterns show up in that space. Where are you consistently making excuses? Where are you consistently shining and like crushing it? Because what happens is then you can start to create different discipline, more deliberation, being more purposeful when there's spaces that you really shine. How do you open up more space for you to sit in that space, for you to play at your highest and best level? And for those things that you keep saying you want in your life, or the way that you want to show up, how do you then create the discipline that's going to help you, or create the metrics, or create the ways that you're going to hold yourself accountable? Maybe it's you're reaching out to somebody who's here every morning with us on Facebook Live and you're like, you know what? I really want to start getting up and working out in the morning. I need an accountability partner. Man, if you want the same thing, how about we text each other at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and say, all right, game on. You ready to work out? Me too. Great. Tell me afterwards how your workout was. It can be something simple like that. But when you find that there's a pattern where you're not showing up for yourself or others in the commitment or the intention that you set, it's an opportunity to really dig in and understand why. It's an opportunity to see where you keep making the excuses, and then take responsibility to create, good morning, Robin, create a different level of accountability. And sometimes we need to reach out to other people to ask for help, right? I'm actually here right now in Houston because I needed to fill my cup. I needed some downtime. And like I said, I wasn't 100% sure I was getting on this morning. I need some just quiet space. And so this weekend is all about me kind of tapping back into how I've been showing up. And so I will be doing a lot of reflection over the last month, because I do this review, I do this reflection every Friday, and then I do an inventory of my month to really say, so what were my big priorities for this month? What were the intentions I set for how I wanted to show up as a leader, how I wanted to show up powerfully in my voice, and how do I feel I did? And so I will ask those questions. I will ask those two questions. One being, Candy, where'd you crush it this month? Where were you like, man, that was your game? And where, if I'm being honest with myself, could I have shown up better? Where did I half-ass it? Where did I dog it a little bit? And then I ask myself some other questions as well. Good morning. I'll ask myself, I'm like, what were my biggest wins? for the month or for the week, right? If you're just looking at this week, but we are coming at the end of a month again, right? And so what were my big wins? What are the things that I had no idea I was going to accomplish that? And if I really think about it, I'm really proud of those wins. So what were my wins? What were my losses? Did I have any losses this week? Did I do something that cost me money? Did I do something that cost me time, resources, my patience? Those are the kinds of things that I ask myself questions on when I'm reflecting back on those commitments and intentions I make. And then I'll say, what were my biggest blessings this month? Where do I feel like was really blessed with either something that I learned, somebody, maybe it was someone I was introduced to, maybe it was a new opportunity that fell into my lap, maybe it was a new collaboration or partnership. Where are my blessings? Where are the things that really feel like they were new spaces or they were things that filled my cup this month? And what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Good morning, Paul. Yeah, you know, that question, Yvette, is so powerful. Where did you half-ass it? Because we don't get honest with ourselves enough to say, because a lot of times we do one of two things. We're overzealous in how much we actually accomplished, and we're like, we just pump ourselves up. We're like, yep, it was good, I was awesome, great. And when we don't get really honest with ourselves, we keep repeating patterns that are holding us back. We keep repeating patterns that are allowing us to make these half-assed excuses and know that we're not playing full out. And or we self-deprecate and we beat ourselves up over and over again about, man, I screwed that up again. I didn't show up full out in that space. And instead of really getting in and asking that question from a really deep and compassionate space, but from a place of understanding, to say, I notice that pattern keeps showing up for me. Every time I keep saying I want to do this, which is that next uncomfortable, or it's that pushing my discipline to the next level, and you might hear some barking. Peyton sees some other dog. Peyton, hey. The beauty of being outside, right, in a new neighborhood. But I want you to also think about, it's your opportunity to really allow yourself. I got dogs barking everywhere. Welcome to my life, everyone. A little crazy this morning. But I want you to think about, it's only when you decide to lean into that, to get understanding around what's working for you and what's not. And if there's a pattern that every time you're trying to move into this next space, and there's something holding you back, don't you want to understand what that is? And not from a place to judge yourself, not from a place to criticize yourself, but from a place to understand what you need. Because there's a gap. There's either a gap in your mindset, there's a gap from a resource standpoint, there's a gap from a training standpoint or a discipline standpoint. And when you can get really clear, all right, enough, you guys. When you get really clear on what that is, you can start to put in the pieces you need to fill those gaps. And so it's really important, good morning, Kathy, to ask those questions, to get really honest. And one of the things I do is I journal, and you guys know I have my little journals everywhere. I capture this because I want to go back week to week and I look at my metrics. I ask the same questions every week, and like I said, I do an inventory. And for those of you that are like, man, I need something that's more structured that lets me do this, one of the greatest resources, and I've introduced it to you before, is Brendon Burchard's High Performance Planner. It actually allows you to measure, to measure, engage, assess how you did each week, and then it has a monthly review as well. And so you're not only looking at each day, you kind of get to close out each day with intention, but you look at each week and you kind of say, well, how did I perform in the areas of high performance? And then at the end of the month, you get to rank yourself and say, okay, how am I showing up? Am I showing up powerfully like I said I am? Am I over zealous in terms of what I really have accomplished? And where am I half-assing, or where am I dogging? Where's their opportunity, right? And it's so critical to be in a space of self-assessment. The more you measure, the more you grow. And what's interesting is so many people think they're growing when actually they're staying stuck or they're regressing back. Because until you measure your progress, until you actually have a regular practice to assess your performance, you're not moving anything forward. I guarantee you, what you measure grows. What you don't stand still or get stagnant or dies, because you are in your mind thinking, oh, I'm pushing myself, I'm doing that, when in reality you're really not. And so I really stress that. So let me see what some of you are saying here. Robin, so important, formed 4 entrepreneur accountability and support groups, and we are loving it. Learn much already. I love that. Oh, accountability groups are powerful. It's why I run masterminds. It's why we're here. Those of you that show up every morning with me, I mean, I'm here. I'm technically on vacation. I'm on holiday for myself. And it's important to me. I've made a commitment to you. Unless I'm traveling and on a plane, my intention is to be here Monday through Friday with you, 7:30, so we can have these conversations. That's me holding myself accountable. There are mornings I wake up and I'd rather sleep. There are mornings that I wake up and I'm like, I don't know what I want to talk about today. There are mornings that I'm like, man, I don't even know how to be present for myself, and here I am going to be present for whoever shows up. And I've made a commitment and a promise, and it's important to me. And so this is a way that I hold myself accountable. One of the reasons I set 7:30 is because I used to get up at 7:30, and I wanted to start creating a early morning routine that allowed me to accomplish more, so I could show up more powerfully and intentionally. So what did I do? I created a Facebook Live and made an announcement that said, I'm going to show up every morning, Monday through Friday at 7:30, because it holds me accountable to create that routine I said was so important. And so I want you to think about that, right? Preston, I felt strong in the networking marketing event space. I'm working on relaunching Houston Emerging Entrepreneurs, looking at September. Oh, that's so fantastic. Congratulations, Preston. I love that. Oh my God, you said you are in Houston. I would love to see you. If it works out, that would be awesome, Preston. I am kind of off the grid this weekend for many reasons. Yeah, so I'm not here very long. I'm just kind of refueling the tank. Yvette, there are things that I've never thought of until the last 8 to 9 months. I've always just shown up for work, did the work, and went home. Yeah, and a lot of us get into that pattern, right? We get into that pattern of wash, lather, rinse, repeat. And we find ourselves kind of moving in Groundhog's Day, where it's like you wake up, you go to work, you might come home, take the edge off, and go to sleep, right? And your day just blends into one after another. And it's only when you stop and you start to take that inventory, you start to take assessment of your life, that you start to say, oh, I really get it, right? I have opportunities to level up. I see where I'm kind of half-assing things in my life. I want to take more responsibility and accountability to show up differently, because when we allow life to happen to us, when we just get caught up in the rhythm and the movement and the repetitiveness of life, we're not really living in any moment. We're allowing ourselves to just kind of be half awake, kind of numb, in a coma, which is a lot of where people are at right now. And so think about everything that's going on. We have this society right now that's really been walking around kind of like zombies, because nobody's taking inventory to say, wow, it's time for a wake-up call. It's time for me to level up. It's time for me to purposely, because the only way change happens is when you create change within yourself first. And if you think about Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, be the change you want to see in the world. Stop thinking it's an external game. We have so many things that we think, oh, it's their fault. Oh, it's on them. Oh, I'll wait till they show up. And what we don't realize is we need to own our own house first. We need to get into a space that says, you know what? The only way I can wake others up is to wake myself up first. And so it's why I show up every morning with you. And like I said, that not every morning. I'm going to be very clear. Mornings were never my thing. It's not. I'm a late night creative, and I've purposely created a different discipline because I am leveling up my game. I want to show up differently, and I know that in order to do that, I need to be here with you. I need to show up fully alive and awake on these calls, because I could half-ass these calls too, and that doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve me. And it's a huge cop-out, right? And so when you make those commitments, when you set those intentions, the first question I have for yourself is, are you keeping the promises you make to yourself? Because what happens, and I'm going to talk more about this next week, because things are firing up, right? And we think about why people don't trust us, or why we don't feel trustworthy, or why we don't feel worthy, because oftentimes we're setting intentions and we're setting commitments for ourselves, and then we're breaking those promises. You need to keep the promises to yourself first and foremost. You need to put yourself in a position to say you are your best client, you are your best friend, you are your most valuable resource and asset. And if you can't keep promises to yourself, no wonder why you don't believe you can show up powerfully for other people. This is where some of you that struggle with self-worth and belief in yourself are struggling. It's because you're not keeping those promises with yourself. You're not putting yourself in a position to honor and be impeccable with your word. And if you haven't read The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, I want you to read those. The 4 Agreements, and the first one says, be impeccable with your word. And in order to be impeccable with your word, you need to be impeccable with your word for yourself first. You need to honor those commitments. When you put in your schedule, I'm going to work out, and then you say, maybe not today, you are subconsciously creating a pattern that says, I don't think I'm worthy. I don't know how to be trustworthy. And we show up half-assed in other areas of our life as well as a result. And so I want you to understand that when you come back and you do this inventory, when you review, when you assess, how did I show up this week? And I'm going to get honest, without the judgment, without the criticism, without the contempt. You're going to get into a space to say, I want to understand what's blocking me, what's holding me back, and where I'm not being impeccable with my word. You're looking at it from a place to be better, from a place to grow, not a place to self-deprecate and beat yourself up. So let me see what the rest of you are saying here. Yvette, but I've started spending time with people who set goals, who are successful or working on their success, and I'm seeing it and I can do better. Absolutely. Good morning, Todd. Yes, tired of being a zombie. Who? Raise your hand, right? Who's tired of walking around like you're in a fog? Who's tired of being exhausted all the time? By the way, when you don't keep commitments with yourself and others, it's one of the fastest ways to energetically exhaust yourself. Because again, you go into that self-deprecation spiral of, man, I suck. Look at me, I can't even keep a promise with, it's important to me, like if I make a promise to Peyton, I have to honor that promise. And people are like, oh, he's just a dog. No, he's my baby. He's my family. And he is the most valuable thing in my life aside from myself. And if I can't keep a promise with him, how do I expect to keep a promise for anybody else, right? And so how we keep our word, what we say we're going to do, how we set intention, and how we measure how we showed up in that space is everything, right? And so, Robin, I thought you were a morning person. You do a great job. Oh, thank you. Yeah, for those of you that are like, man, you're fired up in the morning, you should see me about 10, 11, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm all kinds of fired up. And for those of you that have been to my events, which again, I'm going to have another event in October. So for anybody that's looking to get this for like 2 days in it, I am running an event October 18th and 19th in Austin. I will be sending links and things out coming next week. Come join me. It's here on the north side of Austin. Would love to have you. Let's see, Todd, change has to be true and not manufactured. Absolutely. It's not a fad diet. You hit it right there. Change has to be about you, not anyone else. God, I love that. I love the way you just capture that, Todd. Yes, change has to be something that is a commitment. It's not a fad diet. It's not a, hey, I'm just going to do this. Because what's interesting, and I'm going to talk a little bit about human design and how you have an energetic blueprint that's really powerful. And there's 5 ways you can show up in the world. You're either a manifester, you're a manifesting generator, you're a generator, you're a projector, or you're a reflector. And 70% of the population is either a manifesting generator or generator, which means your natural willpower is an open or undefined domain. So unless you're creating an agreement, a contract, or you're creating a commitment that is in response to something. So again, it's something that you see in yourself or see in the world that you're like, this change is required in order to do this. Unless you make that connection, you're going to have struggles in keeping willpower just because you're like, oh, it's the new thing of the, the new flavor of the day where you're like, oh, I'm going to go on keto. Oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do this fad like Todd's talking about. Because if you're doing it from a fad or because you're watching other people and you think you need to do the same, you will really struggle. 70% of the population will struggle with holding that commitment because there's not something anchored in it for you to respond to that's meaningful for you. And I'm going to talk more about this. This is really important. And just recently, I have had a lot of human design work be introduced to me. And you know how I roll. I get voracious about how to absorb it, how to understand it, how to synthesize it. And I want to bring it back because it's really powerful based on your energetic blueprint, how you receive information, what level of willpower you have, how you make commitments, and is it to inform or is it to respond? Is it projection or is it reflection? When you understand that about yourself and you then set intention and create that space to make a commitment, and here we go with the dogs again. Good morning, everyone. The dogs are fired up. I want you to think about your energetic blueprint plays into that too. And that's not an excuse. It's an understanding of how you're wired. And so I'm going to bring more of that to you as we go along. And so Todd, thank you. I love that so much. That was so powerful. Good morning, Renee. Yvette, I've been waking up earlier and watching coffee chats every morning for the last 2 weeks. That's a commitment I made to myself. I love that. And I love that you're here every day, Yvette, and that you're contributing, right? Because it's not just that you're showing up. I got dogs going crazy. It's not that you're just showing up and listening, you're showing up and participating and being engaged, right? And so I really want you to realize that you're honoring that, right? So that's a space that you get to say, man, I've shown up every day for 2 weeks and engaged and participated in a conversation that gets me fired up, that gets me ready for my day. And oh my God, it's crazy time out here. There's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We got dogs barking like crazy. I can't be more real with y'all. We are here. I'm in Houston. I got dogs going nuts. Welcome to my life, everyone. Fabulous. Love the 4 agreements. Yes, I agree. And then Shirley, make a choice to take a chance to make a change, right? So if you hear me yelling, it's because I'm trying to talk over 2 dogs barking who are going crazy. I mean, literally, it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs out here. Shirley, make a choice to take a chance to make a change. Yes. And it's that choice. It's that commitment that's so powerful, right? When you say, I'm going to do something, the question is, are you honoring that space for yourself? Are you holding that commitment? Are you holding that intention? Todd, wake up and be changed. Ooh, I love that. I might have to borrow that from you. Wake up and be changed. Yes, every day is a new day to rewrite the script, right? To say, I'm ready, I'm willing. This is how I powerfully stand in my intention. And so one of the reasons why I do the assessment at the end of every day is because it's a way to reset and get myself ready for the next day. If I'm like, where did I miss standing in that intention and that commitment? Where did I half-ass it? Where did I dog it? And instead of beating myself, I'm like, how am I going to do that differently tomorrow? How am I going to purposely move that forward, even if it's just a little bit? And if you remember the movie, What About Bob? Baby steps. For some of you, a baby step, 1 inch in the next direction is powerful. And I want you to stop thinking you have to make these monumental shifts. It's a little tweak sometimes. It's a baby step. It's 1 inch. It's 1 degree. It's 1 something that if you can do that differently today than you did yesterday, and it moves you forward into the space that you want to powerfully stand in, that's a win. And I want you to understand, people think breakthrough is this really big, huge, massive thing that has to happen. No, breakthrough is the moment that you have something new that allows you to make a different decision. That's it. That is the definition of breakthrough. It is, I now have access to something that allows me to move 1 step forward, 1 degree. I can make a different decision than I made yesterday. And so to Todd's point, wake up and be changed. Wake up and set that intention that says, today's the day I move 1 more degree. So think about it for a minute. Have you ever seen the money model that if you put a penny away and then you put another penny away, and if you keep doing that, how that starts to compound, right? I do a penny today. Tomorrow I did 2. The next day I did 3. And if you just add 1 every day, if you look at what you would amass over 30 days, it's the same thing with new habits, with discipline, with the way you're setting intention. If you find a way to do 1% more, and then 1% more tomorrow, imagine the exponential effect you're having when 1 times 1 times, when it starts to be this compounding effect, that it's 1% and then 2% and then 4% and then 8%. It's that exponential factor, or actually 4% and 16%, right? It's that 1 + 1 actually equals 20. It doesn't equal 2. And so when you start to layer on another tweak, another inch, another thing that you're going to do just a little bit more today. For some of you that can't do that, pull the tablecloth and see what sticks, which is my style. I change everything all at the same time because that's how I roll. That's not how some of you are wired. And so honor the little movements. Honor the baby steps. If you got to wear your little pretend gill, for those of you that have watched What About Bob, you know what I'm talking about, right? You wear gill around your neck and and you can just say baby step to the door, baby step to the mailbox, baby step to making that call, baby step. Give yourself permission to baby step. If you got to crawl before you can walk, then crawl. If you got to walk before you run, then you walk. Whatever it is that's forward motion, then honor the fact that it's forward motion. Celebrate the small wins. It is important when you assess that if this is a commitment and intention I set for myself, then I'm going to celebrate those milestones along the way. Because that's the other thing that gets in most people's way is it's all or nothing mentality, and you forget to celebrate the forward progress. It's one of the reasons that people in my mastermind, I'm like, man, go back to our first video we did together. Go back to our first conversation. 6 months later, you will see a significant difference if you're spiraling and I don't feel like I've grown the way I want. Go back and watch how far you've come from that first step. Sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees. We get so caught up in the, I don't feel like I've done anything since yesterday. But what happens is when you look at it as a week review, or you look at it as a month review, or you look at it as 90 days or 6 months or a year, you see the significance of those baby steps and how they've compounded. That is so powerful, and you need to give your self space to celebrate that. So what else, Todd? All right, change is like everything else. See, I didn't even read that, and you were right there with me. Crawl before you walk before you run. I love that. I love when we're so in sync, people. I love that. I love you guys showing up on these calls. Make mistakes, have success, and learn from both, and then true change happens, right? As Brene Brown says, if you're going in the arena, even if you can only crawl in the arena, if you're going in the arena, no, you will get your ass handed to you. It's not I might fail. It's you will fall. You will fail. Things that you don't know how to do, you have to fall in order to learn what you need to get there. You fall because there's a gap between a time, resource, people, energy, money, something that you need. And the reason that you fail is you need to understand what's the gap. You need to understand what you need to fill the gap. What do you need to learn? What do you need to access? So failure is absolutely critical, and failure is going to happen. The only way growth occurs is through failure. It does not happen in the success. And it's only when you know that, understand that, and put yourself in the arena, knowing you will get your ass handed to you, knowing you are going to fall down, knowing you are going to fail, that real change occurs. So Todd, I love that. Thank you so much. This is still shining through even though the dogs are loud. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Yes, it's crazy. And I'm just here. These aren't recorded, right? I'm live with you and life happens. And so think about that, right? The sun, I got that. And the sun's starting to blind me right now, and you get this, like, I'm just glowing. It's awesome. But you think about that. There's noise all the time. There are dogs barking. There are sirens going off. There is commotion and chaos and people's negativity. And there are things around you constantly. And can you still focus? And can you still drill in to stand in intention and show up for yourself and others? And I mean, this morning's a great example. I got dogs going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I got the sun blinding me because somehow I didn't set this up right this morning. And yet I still can be present and still be focused and still be here with you to have this conversation. And it's only when you start to destroy the noise. It's only when you start to allow that filter to fade away and you start to get really clear about who you are. Again, it's an internal game. It's not this. And for those of you that didn't watch my training the other night, the live stream I did, it's still available on this page. It's still available on YouTube. It is only going to be available until 9 o'clock tonight. It's another way that I showed up to serve you. I encourage you to watch that. It's about how you step into your purpose. Listen to me, I can't speak. Because it's not this thing you have to go looking for. You are your purpose, and it's all right here. And everything that Todd's just talking about, it's that space to distill down that filter, to be in a space to say, how do I get to show up and be present for my life, for who I care about, for what matters most? And sometimes there's a lot of noise going on around you, and you still got to find that way to keep that commitment, to show up, to be intentional. And so thank you, because yes, regardless of what's going on around me that I can't control, I can control how I show up and continue this conversation with you. And so a couple more things. I'm going to wrap this up because it's Friday, y'all, and you need to go out and finish strong. Robin, I once had an author say to me, the story is not over until you write the ending. You can change the ending all the time. Yes, the chapters that are already done are done. Yet you can rewrite the next chapter anytime you want, and you can rewrite the ending. I tell people all the time, as long as there is fire in your belly and breath in your lungs, it is not over until it's over. And I get people like, I'm too old, I'm too this. Please, I have clients that are 80 years old that could run laps around some 20-year-olds, some 30-year-olds, some 40-year-olds who have given up and said, well, this is just what my life is. No, if there is fire in your belly and there is breath in your lungs, you can change directions. You can pivot, and I'm going to do that again, the whole friends, pivot, you can pivot. You can create a new chapter anytime, anyhow. You get to decide, and to Todd's point, you can wake up and be changed. You can wake up and say, today is the day that I put me first. Today is the day that I show up with intention, and today I'm going to take that first baby step into that space that scares the living crap out of me, and today's the day that I commit. You can right here, right now on this call, decide that in this moment, your life is forever changed. You can just by making a declaration, because when you make a declaration, you energize and activate your entire being that says, I am now making this choice. It's not I will try. It's not I will. It's not any of those wishy-washy, cop-out, BS language that we use when we're like, well, I'll try to be better. No, it will not happen. It is when you only declare and set your intention that says, I am now committed to making this happen in my life. I am now committed to showing up in the best way possible in this space, and I know I'm going to fall, and I'm going to get back up and I'm going to show up because this is the commitment declaration that I'm making for myself. That is the ultimate promise, and that is how you stay impeccable to your word. Man, I'm getting fired up again. You guys get me really wound up. This is awesome. Oh my God, if I can change one thing is a powerful statement. I say change one thing every day, no matter how small, then big change happens. Yes, Todd, and I'm sending you a huge hug because I love that. It's a Midwest thing. I love that. That's awesome. It shows that nothing is perfect, but you deal and move on. Amen all day long. And I just want to say, can I get an amen on a Friday? Right? Because that is the epitome of it. When you say, every day I get the opportunity to change. By the way, just because people know you as something and they've always experienced you a certain way, please, I screw with people, not on purpose, well, actually, yes, intentionally. I mess with people all the time. People think they've got me figured out, and then I'm like, no, I want to level up. Just because you saw me showing up like that yesterday, you know what? That served. And one of the best things I heard, or best quotes that I received not too long ago was, the biggest thing that gets in the way of enlightenment is previous enlightenment. Think about that. We get so stuck on the summit or the plateau we're at on the climbing the mountain that we think, oh my God, I've arrived. Okay, I just broke through that mindset. I just got to that next level. And then we let that next level hold us back. Because what got you here is not what will get you to the next level necessarily. And sometimes we have to release that space that we were just awakened, that space of enlightenment, and Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs is going on, and decide to release ourselves from that so we can get to the next level of enlightenment as well. And so don't let what once was or what is stop you from making a change and making and shifting and pivoting and creating a different outcome and a different chapter and a different ending. There are times that I'm like, yeah, I get people saw me like this. There are people like, man, Candy just drops the hammer all the time. And there's people that have experienced me and were like, wow, I think you scare me more when you get into that really soft, you get into that space. There are things I get to decide every day that I want to level up, that I want to open up a part of me that I haven't tapped into. And I don't need anybody's permission. I get to decide to make that change any day, every day. And when you create those little baby steps, those changes, those incremental changes, those ways that you show up, set intentions, set declarations, and hold yourself accountable to those commitments and promises, guess what? It doesn't matter if someone's like, well, that's not who you were yesterday. Great, but that's who I am today. And you don't owe anybody justification, apology, or an explanation in that space. You get to decide what the metric is for you to level up. And when you do, the right people, you guys join me every morning. This is episode 79, y'all. We've been doing this for months, every day. I've had a couple I've missed because I've been on a plane or I've been training another group. But almost every day we've been showing up over the last couple months. 79 episodes. We've been here together, engaged in this conversation. Guess what? I don't care if the rest of the world doesn't understand what we're doing. I don't care if the rest of the world doesn't get how intentional and committed we are to leveling up our game. You are here, committed with me, doing this. And for those of you that are in the Yes Monthly, you have elevated an even another level for yourself, right? And for those of you that aren't, go check it out. It's a way to really engage and really like fire up and get some of those things you need to make that change every day. So if you're looking for more support, go check it out. It's $97 a month. You can quit anytime. Seriously. What have you got to lose? The bigger question is, what do you got to gain, right? So, all right. It shows, let's see, it's Midwest, yes. It shows that nothing is, oh, I already read that. Nothing, deal and move on. Awesome. On fire. Yes, absolutely. I try. I bring it. Amen. Amen. Oh, I love that. Hey, Deb. Amen. Yep. Amen on a Friday. So with that, y'all, I am going to let you go out. And again, champions finish strong on Fridays. This isn't the day to let the foot off unless you're doing, and by the way, I'm going to full ass my rest as soon as I get off this call with you. It is my day. I'm going to lay by the pool. I'm going to fill my cup. I'm going to do what I need to heal my soul a little bit. I've been a little kicked around the last couple of weeks. A lot going on. And I'm going to still push it all the way because it's Finish Strong Friday, right? It is the day that champions make the difference. What you do on Friday, how you close out your week strong, how you bring the energy, the impact, the intention It's how you get to level up, and it's one of those things that you have opportunity to control at any point. So I'm serious, people. I love that. You looking forward to my first monthly Yes event. Ooh, Carol, I am so glad I saw you signed up yesterday. Welcome, welcome to the Yes Monthly family, Camp Candy. I love it. We are, for those of you that are in Yes Monthly, if you didn't see the notice, I am, because I love to just show up for you guys and I didn't want to miss a week. I am doing a bonus Facebook Live Monday night. I will be in the Camp Candy Rockstar Students page. And so this is a bonus. This wasn't one that was scheduled, but I want to engage with you. We've got some new members. I want to make sure that all of the training, all of the awesome, juicy nuggets, things that you have an opportunity to really bring that to fruition. We can have conversation. We can do some hot seat coaching, and you can get your questions answered, and we can spend some time together Monday night. So if you haven't signed up for Yes Monthly, sign up. Join us Monday night. Join us. We'll be on the group. For those of you there, can't wait. We're going to engage. And I will be back Monday morning, as always, on the Facebook Live with Coffee Chats as well. So enjoy your weekend, everybody. Enjoy grabbing. Oh, congratulations, Shirley. So excited for you to have Lily back. I know you missed your truck. That's awesome. The rest of you, I want you to be like, amen, on a Friday. I want you to think about how you're powerfully going to show up today. I want you to reflect on this past week, and I want you to really create your game plan going into next week on what you're going to level up, what you want to change, and how you're going to hold yourself accountable in that space. As always, it starts with you saying yes to yourself powerfully and learning how to say no to the things that don't serve you and to destroy the noise, because there's always chaos, noise, and shit going on around you. Great. Let yourself be completely like Teflon and let it just bounce, so that you can do the work that you are being called to do. Your purpose is who you are. It is not something you need to go seek or find. So with that, everybody, I love you so much. You just fill my heart. I love that we've had so many new people jumping on. I am here every day, Monday through Friday, 7:30 Central Time on this. Starting Monday too, because I have so many people that are not on Facebook, especially some of my corporate peeps. I am going to be not only on Facebook Live, but I will be live streaming on YouTube. Now that I figured out how to actually live stream, I will be showing up live in both spaces. So you can come check me out on Facebook, or make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. I will be live in both places. So depending on which one serves you best, I am trying to bring this message, access more people, and create an even bigger community, because we are the change we want to see in the world, and it starts with each and every one of us. Mwah! I love you all. I'm blinded by the sun, and I'm going to get a tan today and lay by the pool. So mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you, everyone, and I'll see you Monday.